Okay boys, quick presentation with regards to the National Construction Code on understanding the disability access provisions. Refer that to your Moodle. I'll probably have it up and running tonight at 4:30 for those guys who want to start it early. Righto. So people with disability. They are blind or have low vision, learning or intellectual disabilities, deaf or hearing impaired, physical disability, mental health or psychological difficulties, and some acquired brain injury. The objective is to provide basic information for people on BCA provisions for people with disabilities relating to Class 1B, Class 2 to 9 and some Class 10. That's not including a Class 1A building, so make note of that, boys and girls. The principle of access, right? It's for providing safe, equitable and dignified access to buildings and facilities and services within those buildings. Alright, just get on to the next slide. General background, the disability access requirements have been in the BCA since the 1990s, and it's just obviously evolved from original access for classes 3 and 5 to 9, and that's developed into those other classes as discussed before. Alright. Historically, it's access for people with disability to be provided to a building within the building, so that's your lifts and your signs and your hearing, your certain car parking spaces and suitable sanitary facilities that include your toilets and so forth. Okay, your disability access performance requirements are from DP1 to DP9. That includes your access and your within and outside your building, your travel path to an exit, accessible car parking, communications, and then also there's lifts and sanitary facilities. Okay, just for compliance, which all of you have done many times in this course, hopefully you remember, it's with your deemed to satisfy provisions, okay? Ensure compliance as per the code. Otherwise, check your performance requirements and then refer to an alternative solution. Okay, Volume 1, we're all familiar with that. Parts D, E, F and H, they include general building access, lifts, accessibility for your toilets, showers, and requirements for public transport of your buildings. That's for your disabilities. Okay, AS 1428, make sure you have the latest version. If you can't, on the SAI Global, refer to the one before that, which I think it's 2009. So I'm going to get you the quiz after this one to follow that Australian standard. Okay, so for some exemptions with AS 1428, they need to be assessed on a base-to-base or case-by-case basis, and there's no different to other parts of the BCA where professional judgment is required. Some exemptions or areas which pose a risk, a health or safety risk, or are otherwise inappropriate for people with a disability, they would include items like your foundry floor or rigging loft. So they've been exempt for obvious reasons. It's too difficult for people to work there with a disability. So for your car parking, refer to table D35 within the BCA, and then also refer to AS 2890 for accessible car parking spaces, and there are a couple of questions on that with regards to your dimensions. They will include your 2.4, shown here up on the screen, by your 5.4s. Now that's for your accessible space for a disabled car parking spot. Take note where the bollards go, and you've also got your shaded areas just for your clearances. Alright. Some signage related directly to building matters. They include identification of your toilets, location and type of hearing augmentation, and some directional information. That could probably include your exit signs and so forth. I won't go through the whole lot, but signage toilets, they must be identified using tactile and Braille signage in addition to the male or female sign. Now you can also refer that to AS 1428. Take note, those signs are not compliant. Okay. Now what I will get you to do is refer to AS 1428 for compliant signs and find that out yourselves. Those are just for fancy designs which are not compliant for international standards, okay? And I'll let you guys look into that. Hearing augmentation, you need to use that international symbol for deafness on the right hand side, and within the room they need to indicate your type, area, receivers being used, and those signs need Braille and tactile signage. Alright, obviously you can see the problem here. Make sure the heights are between 1200mm and 1600mm from the floor. So you can see it's too hard, too difficult for that lady to reach. Also, a person reading Braille should not be at risk of injury from opening doors or pedestrian traffic. So read the one on the right hand side. It's not very appropriate and not compliant, so that someone could get injured from standing in front of the door. Okay, TGSI's tactile ground surface indicators are used to facilitate safe movement around the buildings. Okay, the technical data is in your AS 1428. Okay, if you need reference to that, that is where all your technical data will be. Happy days. There you go. Mainly down the bottom of your stairs or entrances, they could be in a tile or could be laid out and fixed with the adhesive on the back, which is on the left hand side. And those types comply with the code and AS 1428. You can have an example of a TGSI. Might be required because of the danger of the overhead obstruction created by an open stairway. So you can obviously see those tactiles aren't there. Someone's going to wander around and knock themselves on the head. A series of connected ramps must not have a combined vertical rise of more than 3.6 metres. That's in vertical rise. And make sure a landing for a step ramp must not overlap another landing for another step ramp or ramp. So just take a note of these next couple of pictures on the slides. Okay, that one does not comply, and that looks okay, doesn't it? You've got your 1.2 landing, but in actual fact you need 1.2 landing plus another landing for it to comply, and that's gone through technical data, and that's been studied to show that the compliant or best ramp access way is like the picture that will be shown in a moment. You have landings for each ramp, so you're 1200 by 1200 either side. That is whether it's your 1 in 14 ramp or your step ramp. So that makes more sense looking at that picture. Glazing on an access way. Okay, you know your markings on the glass as per AS 1428. You can see the one on the right hand side complies, whereas the one on the left, some poor sausage, some poor kid would probably just run completely into that. I know I've done that when I was a young fella. Passenger lifts, left hand side shows an unenclosed lift. The one on the right is a stairway platform lift. Just make sure those comply as per the Australian standards and as per the performance requirements with the NCC. Just a couple more slides. Others include your sanitary facilities, unisex toilets, disabled, ambulance accessible toilets and public transport. I will get you to find out, and I'll define the term ambulance in one of those quizzes. Alright, so I'll let you guys and girls chase that up. Last point is the door controls. Does anyone actually know which is the one that you would be using, which complies with AS 1428? Which one would be easier to use? That's right, type 3 or type D. Yep. That one's complied. That shape provides support and prevents handles from slipping off. It provides support for closing the door as well. So that's the one that complies, yeah? That's if it's required. Keep that in mind. Not all doors need to comply. Any questions? Okay, now go to the quiz and complete that with regards to disability access and provisions. Then go on to accessing AS 1428 and finish that quiz, and that'll be it for tonight. You can get me through Moodle messaging or email, and there is a forum that we can discuss any problems. Alright guys, thanks for that. I'll talk to you later.